Yeah, like normal. And I just want to make sure that I knew who could hear the speakers.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pick log in.
I'll pay attention.
Make sure that's functioning.
All right. I'll plop right here. Reading from this spot. Demetria, I'm so sorry. Election. Wasn't that?
Yay, Rana.
Rana.
Hey, Rana.
It is, it's 2 o'clock in the hour, and I'll try to keep track of people who dial into this, but I appreciate everybody showing up today for our first in-house with the fun virtual system. Just dialed in, and I will unmute him in a bit.
Is he the only person online?
Patrick's the only person online. So, let's see, Kelly wrote, called and let me know that she couldn't make it. I haven't heard from Mark.
Mark's downstairs using the facilities.
Oh, there you go. Then we'll wait for Mark.
Perfect.
Tracy. we
Tracy
don't-
Tracy has decided to step down. She just is so overloaded, and she said that she just really, a lot of travel's coming up her way, and she feels like if she can't
All right,
participate, she wants to
that's fine.
take a break,
And then
so.
Lori Goshorn, we haven't heard from either.
I don't know. I'll email her and
She has
see what's
2
going on.
exchange students.
Yes,
so
I've
I
not
think
seen her
she'll-
since homecoming day that the parade went through.
Oh.
Yes, I met, she has a young man from Jordan, and she has a young lady from Kazakhstan, I believe.
Oh, my. Okay.
Teenagers.
So life has kind of changed for her right now.
Yeah, I would say. All right, very good. And I hear Mark making his way, and I have your thing in the back of my car. Oh, don't let me forget about it. Handmade sign. Actually, no, because Rhonda told me you were downstairs. She gave
So
it.
should we try and find another Douglas person or no?
I think so. I
Do
mean,
you have somebody in mind?
I do not. Do you?
No.
Okay. Demetria, do you?
Murdoch, I don't.
These were my choices for you, so just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep my eyes open. I don't have anybody. We just talked in the last couple days, so.
Okay, very good. So we've kind of done a pseudo roll call, so. That public comment, we don't have anybody but our committee here, so I'm going to forego public comment. Minutes, I don't think we got anything last time. did we?
Oh, no.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I did them.
Undescribed, and I think you.
You sent
typed
out.
them up.
Yeah, I sent them out.
Uh-oh.
Was that our last? No, I.
That was our last meeting.
That was our last
Yeah.
meeting.
October the 13th?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I do not. have
I
those
wasn't
with me,
here.
So, yeah. We'll hold on approving those till next time. That's my bad. I'm unorganized. So, approval of the agenda, I'll accept it. Do you have an agenda?
Oh, no,
Is that
I didn't print it out, I'm
October
sorry. I mean, I can find it on my phone.
13th? Hey, Karen, I have them. I can pass them around if people want to look at them, or you want to just wait?
We'll do it.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, we can always.
No objections to the agenda, we're just going ahead and move ahead. So Patrick is on the line and he is getting ready to pull up anchor. I'll let him explain where he's at as soon as I unmute him. Patrick, you need to unmute yourself and hear me. Patrick?
Something nautical like ahoy.
Yeah, really. Okay,
Something
if he
nautical.
unmutes himself,
That's
we'll let him bop in, but he's on a boat somewhere south of like Charleston or something like that, so. I was gonna have him talk a little bit about the reusable water bottles, but when he comes on, we'll let him do his report. So with that, I've got first up, the next cycle conference, both Daniel and Demetria attended, and I thought I'd let them give a little report, and you all can decide who wants to go first.
Would you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay, that works.
So, great conference, did you think?
Yeah, it was great.
Great conference.
Did we need a motion to approve the minutes?
Oh, we're gonna wait till next time.
Okay.
I think you missed that part. 'cause
Yeah.
don't
I just
have
found it on my phone.
Nope,
So,
it's all good.
all right, good.
Yep.
Sorry.
All good. Okay, go on ahead.
So the focus of the conference was more bringing organics into the cycle of of use. And it was also focused on a whole cycle of service from the collection point to finding end users and then out into the public. So there were a number of breakout sessions. So the organic one is the one that I thought was really interesting. They're increasing the market for all kinds of composting and using it to fix soils. And there's, to use for, and I'm sure everyone knows this, stormwater drainage, green infrastructure, sustainable landscaping, and ordinances that support that. So there's a movement to get construction companies to start to use composting, and all the road work to use composting along the drainage areas that fixes the soil. Of course, it has to be planted with some kind of substance. There's also an organization called Landscape for the Lake. And so using composting to mitigate erosion, sort of a natural format. So, diverting, collecting food waste. That was a big one. That's really big. And there was a whole program, I didn't attend this one, on diverting food waste from landfills.
Like ways to do it, or companies that are doing it, or
There-
how you in a community could do it?
Yeah, all of that.
All of it. Okay.
Private municipalities, schools. So I think in a couple of weeks, we'll get access to all of these programs. So I could, get those ideas as well. I also attended one that focused on media, getting your message out. And so she was, this was a gal from the Petoskey area, and she had a lot to say about media. And I did take a look at our Facebook page. So, and I'm wondering if we have a media plan around the Facebook page.
Do you want to take that on?
No.
Yeah, really.
Good idea. I know.
Volunteer. That's what I heard.
But this is where
Yeah.
I think, and then I know Daniel has a lot more to say, but having someone who's in the role of a sustainability officer is that someone who had that type of role for the three areas. That's part of the education and outreach, and that's something that that individual for sure would do. That might be a little premature in talking about a sustainability officer. And then other things I wanted to talk about is one of the things was the bill that's in the Appropriations Committee that Eric Nesbitt is overseeing. That's the Bill 115.
Yeah.
So they didn't particularly have any wordage or a template of outreach for that committee. So we could either do it individually to Eric Nesbitt, or we could draft something as a committee, or we could perhaps ask the cities, the municipalities for support in this. That might be an additional step down the road, but it's a extensive overhaul of the recycling in Michigan, and it diverts. Those of you who are in the solid waste planning, it's geared towards moving away from landfill.
Do you feel like you have enough knowledge, or you could get it to write an article for the paper? Because I think we talked about that, about soliciting letters to be sent through the paper through an article. So if you explain like what's going on, and then say that here's the address and this is kind of what we're working toward.
Sure,
Would you-
I
That would be-
could
that'd
work
be
on that.
really cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Senate is on recess until after Thanksgiving now, so that hasn't gone, they haven't done anything
Yeah,
on part 115,
Yeah.
so.
yeah, I tried to read it, but
mm,
it's huge.
Yeah,
There should be a summary on the Recycling
There-
Coalition's
There
website.
there is, yeah.
Yeah.
There is a summary, so.
yeah.
You
And I
think you'd be
can,
comfortable
she
doing
sent us too, when
Oh,
when
I
she
can work
presented
on-
to us, she sent,
Yeah, there's one flyer that is excellent. It sort of summarizes it. It's something that looks like this.
yeah,
Modernizing Michigan solid waste laws, but it kind of goes through everything. So
mhm.
I could work on that, send it to you and you could.
You know, I will say,
re-edit it.
excuse me, when we were selling the bags,
Mhm.
a lot of people that came up commented on the articles and how helpful they were.
That's great.
That's the only place I can think of that people would have said that I've
Mhm.
been around, so, but yeah.
So the
Okay.
conference was worth your while? You found it worth your while to go?
Yes, I did. And do you want to talk about Samantha?
You can talk about Samantha if you want. This is,
I
yeah, I'll chime in after.
Okay, so for the Michigan Recycling Coalition, our representative is a gal by the name of Samantha Butterbach. Samantha,
Okay,
and she is an owner of a MRF in the Coldwater area.
okay.
And she's pretty knowledgeable, she's kind of a hoot
Oh,
as well, but she would be willing to have us do a trip down there.
oh, fun.
To see, so she serves as the recycling maven in that area.
Okay.
So she's would be a really good resource.
How many folks would be interested in a visit to a MRF? You want to follow up with her and see if maybe we can do it around a Wednesday that we meet? See what- If that
Sure,
works?
sure.
That'd be a huge help.
Yeah, I'll see what her,
Okay.
you know, it's just her and her family that run this. so
Wow,
it's a
How big is it?
conference.
I mean, it's a reasonable size.
15,000 square feet,
wow.
Her and her family?
her husband, and they have some staff.
How many MRFs are there in Michigan?
Oh,
You know? Did they mention?
no, but I think I saw a map.
We were learning about this. So apparently a lot went out of business after 2018 because like the-
Chinese?
yeah, because they weren't accepting, material anymore and they weren't making all that money.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of a scramble to identify the MRFs and identify MRFs that accept certain things, especially like hard to find items. And then the MRFs are struggling to identify, processors who would purchase those materials.
Yeah, that's the end users. So the other thing that Samantha mentioned to us is that, so the Michigan State has developed a curriculum all around degrees in sustainability recycling. Yeah, and so, and there's also a big push for AI in the MRFs, which to identify the product and the chemical component, and if it's a plastic, that's a 1 or 2. Or, the MRFs will tell you they'll take the other plastics, but they don't have an end user for them.
Mhm.
So anyway, so it's an industry that's waiting to be modernized
Mhm.
or, poised to be modernized.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a little piggyback off of Samantha. I sent an email to our township manager, and I don't know when I'll get a response, but in order to get access to Samantha as a coordinator, we would have to join the Michigan Recycling Coalition, because I attended the conference and paid the full price, and I did it through the township. They would allow the township to join for like $100 for the year. So then we'd get access to all the, like a big network of municipalities, private businesses, processors. We'd have this regional coordinator. So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm a member.
Oh, you are a member. Oh, okay.
I
Oh,
did
then,
sign.
oh, so
I-
you did sign. I didn't sign up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pressure the township to, I've asked them to do it. And I said that I would initiate that if they agreed to it, but
Will they let us join as a tri-community?
I'm sure they would. We just have to pay the $200.
We've got the money from the reusable bags. I mean, that would be.
That'd be
I
awesome.
think, because then we all have access to that, right?
It would, and I think it would be worth our while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Um,
Did you pay $200?
Membership, I don't remember how much the membership was.
Because I wonder if they would just let her expand hers and then we could,
yeah, if we can
Give you
find
your
out
money
about
back or
that, because
something.
I have a membership also, but I did, this was early on when I joined. But I'd rather that we're all able to utilize that and have
Mhm.
access to all
Yeah, I will reach out to Samantha, she's a straight up kind of person, I think.
that. Yeah,
And she would either say
perfect.
yes or no. So-
okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do that. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead, Dana.
no, it was a fantastic conference. It really kind of, I mean, it brought together everyone who is like a stakeholder in this recycling system. So there were, municipalities there, there were private companies, there were, nonprofits, there were haulers, producers, manufacturers, the whole bit. So it was kind of interesting to see that, start putting together the pieces and understanding what the challenges are. And, part of the challenge is, identifying the MRFs. Part of the challenge is the MRFs getting the materials they need and enough of what they need to sell to the manufacturers, and the manufacturers connecting to the correct MRF. So a lot of that networking was going on there, which was cool to see. And it, one of the things that was brought out too, that, I guess there's two ways to go about this, but kind of a message that we're hitting home is that we think of this as waste, but really there's a lot of valuable resources in what we're calling waste. And it's just about extracting those resources, and they really can make, a lot of businesses a lot of money if we can do it properly and we can scale it. And we saw a lot of businesses there that were trying to do just that.
Yeah.
So that was, very insightful. And then different organizations have been taking different kind of marketing approaches. So Eagle is very into this idea that recycling and diverting, valuable resources from the waste stream is a part of, combating climate change. So Eagle is really into connecting recycling with climate change. We talked to the city of Holland. The city of Holland is really interested in the business aspect of it. We talked to somebody who's involved in Zero Waste Detroit, and there are other municipalities that are taking the zero waste or non-zero waste kind of approach. So we kind of saw a splintering of perspectives depending on who they thought they were talking to and what message they thought was going to be most persuasive. So I thought that was interesting, because I know that we've kind of gone in multiple directions, and I never really thought of it as like kind of picking a lane, depending on what you think, what message you believe is going to resonate. Like Holland is very much into this idea that there is great economic benefit to recycling and pulling out organics from the waste stream. So that was something that I thought was interesting. The other thing is there was, a huge focus on collaboration, a huge focus too on regional collaboration. The Recycling Coalition has kind of grand ambitions, and they really want to see, successful, profitable companies emerge, and they want to see communities connect, and they want to see bigger projects come about. And they believe it can happen. And it was interesting, because it was cool. We saw people who were really, into what they were doing. And it just kind of opened my eyes that, I think we've done so much and it's been fantastic, but I think that there's a lot more potential if we start looking out for external partners too, or, people we could partner with. I did speak with Rosemary Graham because she attended virtually. And she complimented us on some of our educational marketing materials. And she specifically identified the piece we did on where you can take difficult to recycle items in the community. And she said that she would like to do one that was for the county. And she was interested in maybe partnering on, a little, maybe like like a countywide directory piece that she could brand as the county, but then put our branding on that too. And, she saw that, she wanted to see what it would be like to collaborate with us. And then she also thought that it's a way to kind of, prod the county a little bit to take some further steps.
Because Dimitri, you put that together, didn't you? That was for the household hazardous waste day, that was that.
So that was Rosemary from the counties.
Yeah, she accomplished, she thought it was great.
Why are we ahead of them? I know.
Well.
Yeah, no,
well,
she's, yeah.
That's a,
She's got staff.
Well,
No,
Yes,
she
yeah,
doesn't.
she does, yeah.
She's
She's
paid,
the,
but
she's
she
paid.
gets paid.
She is paid, yeah.
Yeah, well, they are
Yeah,
so,
she-
they're so focused on the COVID clinic still.
Yeah.
That's because they're health and human services. And they've been directed in that way. And even though that is her, she runs those COVID clinics.
Yeah, there's no direction. She directs it, but I don't see direction.
Well, yeah, and that comes mostly from the, well, that's part of that Part 115 solid waste group. There's just, and Dan can tell you, there's just not, you can talk about that one, but there's not a whole lot of direction.
No, there is movement though.
But
So,
they're good.
so because of the request that the solid waste planning committee sent to the county, asking them why they didn't endorse part 115 to, for the Senate. They asked Karen O'Brien from the Recycling Coalition to do a presentation, and after hearing her presentation, they endorsed it.
Oh, nice.
So that was a good move. So then they understood, they're like, oh, this is good. They got that it was really good for business. And I guess that goes back to like, what angle are you going to take to market this? But they were very compelled by the business or the economic benefit, and they endorsed it. They sent a letter of endorsement.
So do you know, is Rosemary gonna apply for one of those the little grants, so she has the funding to do that type of marketing? Is that what, because they want those partnerships, as we've learned.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, or if she just already has the money budgeted for a piece like that and just wants to collaborate.
I don't think she's going to apply. That's another thing I can talk about real quickly about the next cycle. Next cycle was, because that's what I focused on attending the next cycle talks. It was kind of eye-opening. So it was not anything that I thought it would be, that they, like, even for micros, the way they described it is they're like, they want to give $10,000 injection for a small idea that will eventually become a big thing that makes money. Like the whole thing was really about encouraging business development that will, become profitable, and then that money can be reinvested in more, waste management projects.
Right.
And we saw like the people who were successful in getting those grants had big partnerships.
Right.
So like one was partnering with Wayne State and the city of Detroit. Another company was, oh, this is the coolest thing. It was like an AI technology company that assessed that would scan the quality of food and could tell you like if it was about to go bad or if it wasn't, or if it needed to be refrigerated or if it needed to be this. And they were on track to make $1 billion in 5 years. Like in 5 years, they're hoping to bring in $1 billion a year. And they're going to be a Michigan-based company.
Nice.
Well, can we have one in our homes?
Oh, what was it called? It was called Sabermetrics.
Or that one that talks to you from the
Something like that, yeah.
refrigerator.
Was it called Saber? Did you see that talk? I think it was
I did
Saber.
not see
I think it was
that.
Sabermetrics.
But we'll get the content for that in
Yeah.
in a little bit.
But it was very cool to see, but they're really encouraging bigger partnerships. And that's why I was like, I have to, start maybe thinking beyond, our territory a little bit, or thinking about like who we could partner with.
Yeah, do you want to segue into the potential?
Yeah, so I was able to meet at one of the organics talks, Dan Brosima, who is the sustainability director in Holland. And I told him a little bit about us. And he told a little bit about what they're doing. And, I told him that, organics is on our radar, that a possible maybe MRF is on our radar, that we have a site of 150 acres in the township that's owned by the city. He got very excited. And he wants to meet with us and talk about a potential partnership between the city of Holland and our group.
Oh, that's exciting.
So, yeah, and he's very interested in launching their own organics program. I don't know if he knows exactly how it's gonna look. We did, we did hear from other communities that do have an organics pickup program where it goes out with the yard waste when the yard waste is available and they just suck it right up.
Yeah.
And then in the winter time or the off season, they have buckets. So it's being done in Illinois, so it could be done here. I did talk to, and I have his card. I don't know the name of the company, but they do organics pickup and composting on the east side of the state. And of course, he's interested in expanding. I don't know if he's gonna get right here, right away, but there are organics companies out there now that have the capacity to do a project for us.
And then Wormy's got a grant.
Wormy's got a grant, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, I saw that as next cycle, kind of affirming that they're on the right track with what they're doing.
Did they get the micros grant or they got a different one?
No,
No.
they got the, shoot, what was it called? Flows.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Fluid, I can never remember what it means.
Yeah.
Fluid, liquids, food.
Organics.
and
Organics,
waste.
whatever.
That was the one that was $10,000, right?
No, it was no
this is a
money.
huge one. This is a big one.
Yeah, it's like access to hundreds of thousands of dollars from Eagle if you go through the program.
I remember that. I just didn't
That's
know,
the
did they
acronym.
get an amount of money? And that was,
Yeah, and Luis had a very compelling presentation because essentially he identified, I forgot how many billions of dollars again. There's a huge market for high quality compost for the marijuana growing industry in Michigan, and they can't get it in the state. They have to import it from California or wherever. And so he's trying to tap into that market, but it's a $1 billion market.
I believe it.
Okay, so we're gonna, Ron and Daniel and I are probably gonna sit down with Dan Boersma, is that how you say his last name?
Yeah,
Probably next week, I think is what we were looking at, just to kind of see where he's at and what he has in mind and see what we might possibly begin to percolate on. Which is really exciting, because if you've been following Holland at all, that they added that full-time sustainability position, which he has basically transitioned into. He and Ken Freestone worked quite closely together for several years on their kind of baby projects. So their program is really growing, and for me, I see it almost as a good model for us to try to follow as we grow. Because they've kind of been there and done that, and we don't need to recreate the wheel if necessary. So stay tuned on that. We'll fill you in on that.
Pretty cool.
it would be cool.
Yeah.
And he's very enthusiastic and very positive.
Yeah.
I think that we would
A
all,
lot of energy.
yeah, a lot of energy.
What's that guy's name?
Dan Brosma.
Brosima, thank you. So along the lines of that conference, and the next Michigan Recycling Coalition Conference is May the 11th through 13th in East Lansing. And because, and this is a good segue into the next thing, our little recycling partnership grant, because we got that grant, they will provide the funding for us to attend that. So
What are the dates?
May the 11th and the 13th. So stay tuned, because I think as many of us who want to go should go and take that opportunity.
Absolutely.
I think it'll be wonderful.
But look what came out of this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think it's, the other thing that I'm, with this, what's so good is our little organization, our presence is starting to be felt, which is really kind of fun. I mean, it's a compliment to you all. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, again, we're not even at 2 years, and what we've been able to do in 2 years, and that's thanks to all of you, is quite wonderful. So with that, I'll segue into our little, we had a, 2 pages of notes. It was our onboarding for the recycling partnership grant that we got. And if you'll recall, I think at the last meeting, I told you, they awarded us about a little more than $9,000 to do a pre and post audit of our recycling bins.
Yeah.
So I can't even, there were 18 people on the Zoom call today. It was about 2 hours. I'd say 5 of the 18 were either Eagle or recycling partnership folks. And that's where the information came out about the conference. So I'm like, we need to be all over that. We need to go. And Dan, you can help me out a little bit. So our program will basically, ours and everybody else, there were 13 municipalities, 13 organizations, I don't know what the right word is, that were awarded grants this time in Michigan. We are the second. There was a first group last year. And there was actually Grand Rapids the year before, but because of COVID, they kind of had 2 years. So we're the second group of new folks being onboarded.
Wow.
That original group of 14, it sounds like, the way I understood it, they were now being moved into a phase 2, which was they called it app to application. So it's basically taking what you've done in that pre and post and then moving it forward and making it a sustainable part of, your just everyday life. So I think that's something for us to look forward to when we do a good job, not if we do a good job, when we do a good job. It was really cool. We will start in early January-ish. She said she'll reach out to us and do a personal onboarding call. I would prefer that's all of us who want to participate in that, rather than just Dan and Ron and I who meet once a week. I think we should all just hear what that's going to entail. There's some really neat educational materials that have been generated as a result of that group that went last year. And literally what we're doing, it's a reimbursement program. And they are basically providing us with the materials. We don't have to do.
Oh,
anything.
hallelujah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hallelujah is right.
Oh, yeah.
We have very talented Ron on here, but I mean, she's a busy woman, and for them to have all that, so it was pretty nifty. So stay tuned, and when I get the specifics, if I can, I'll try to do it around our regular meeting time, just to organize that with Cassandra. She seems very flexible in that way, and that way we can be fully onboarded on that program.
So
Let's see.
Garnett, if I may ask, the recycling partnership, is that a national group or is it a
National.
Michigan? It's a
National.
Garnett.
Yeah, if you'll recall, let's see, we started in April of 2020, and I think it was.
She spoke, right?
She spoke to us.
Right.
Yeah, and at that time, it was more informational, anything out, what is the recycling partnership? Ken had kind of suggested that we
Got it.
connect. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that relationship was formed at that time, and yeah, I think that kind of helped us get on their radar, that we've been around a little bit, so I'm really trying to do some really nifty things. The great thing for me as a data geek is we're going to be collecting a lot of data and I mean, they have apps and iPads and it's like, okay. So I think it'll be quite fun, actually. It's not like we're going to be digging around in people's trash, but we will be randomly auditing recycling bins.
Right, so long as I can wear a yellow
Yeah.
vest,
We'll
I'm
get you
good.
a fun yellow vest. Let's see, Dan, what else? I've got so many notes here. It's not even funny, but,
Yeah. I mean, they just kind of went through with us the various, components of the program. But again, it was a kind of a general overview because it was an initial onboarding as opposed to kind of like a specific rundown, but there are various phases.
yeah, basically, it'll go all of 2022.
Yeah.
Most entities don't really start until June. But she did say, but resort communities might want to consider a different timeline. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
because that'll just,
Yeah.
basically for us, come middle to the end of June, oh my God.
Yeah.
It changes our whole landscape. So
Mhm.
that's part of the conversation I'll have with her is, does it make sense to do it earlier? We can't run it later, because in our case, where it's once a month pickup, we have to do four kind of audits. And so that's 4 months in our case. So we have to be able to do some really good pre stuff, do some post stuff. So that's 6-7 months right there. So, but I was feeling a little overwhelmed when we first got on, like, oh my God, what have I gotten us into? But it felt much more manageable after she went through the onboarding with all of us. So, and I feel like it's nice because we have our little burgs, our 3 little burgs. Where was it up in the UP? They're a whole flipping county.
Oh,
Alger
yeah.
County,
Algin, yeah.
Alger County. It's like, oh my, that's a big, I mean, in the UP, those are big counties. It's a lot of space. So we don't have that. We have our 3 little burgs. So stay tuned on that. It was really cool. It's kind of a nice compliment again to this group and what we've done. And basically, it's why we started in the first place, was to try to kind of improve upon our recycling. And I think we'll really be able to have a neat impact. One of the sets of data that they showed was the pre-recycling rate and the post-recycling rate and the percentage decrease in waste, and several Michigan entities that participated last time. Yes. And these weren't small percentage drop-offs. These were like 45%, 35%.
In contamination, you mean?
Contamination.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's just
Yes.
education, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
all about education. And, our choice, and I wrote this down, is how strict are we going to want to be? Because they did say some folks would, when they did an audit, they would just tag it and say, ooh, they have a tag that basically says, oops, and you check off the things that are in there that shouldn't be, or they left the recyclables in a plastic bag or something, and then, but they would still let it be empty, but they would just put the tag on the bin. And then there were other entities that you didn't take their recycling. But I know that was my first reaction was, oh my God. She goes, really what it did is it basically led to increased participation, because folks are like, oh, this is serious. Next time I'm going to be sure I do this right, because otherwise they're not going to retain. And she said it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it wasn't like the phone was ringing off the hook with complaints. She said, yeah, you got one
We're
or
gonna
two
get a
complaints.
sticker with your phone number on it to put on the
Yeah,
bins.
yeah.
Did
But
that-
it was, and you can add to this, because that was my first reaction, like.
Yeah.
Was in those communities where they did that hard line, was it like the first time they did it, then there was a warning, like, we've taken your bucket, but
They
the
do do
next
that,
time-
yeah.
Okay, so it's not just like, yeah.
No,
it's
no,
out
no,
there.
no, no.
Yeah.
You go through it. So there's the beginning stage where you're informing. So we have to connect with the MRF
Yeah.
and find out exactly what they take, like what's valuable to them, what they're not going to take. They will tell the recycling partnership, they'll come up with a marketing piece for us. And then we use that to, connect with all the residents and tell them what's up. And then as we go through the audit, we give them a few warnings. And then at a certain point, we can do this, we don't have to, but we can say, we're not picking it up because you still are putting in these contaminable items. So you're not doing
And we
it.
just, I think we need to decide how
Strict. you want.
heavy-handed we want to be.
Yeah.
And that's a good conversation to have with her, because she has that data. It's not like we're gonna be the first, place to try to do that. So, yeah.
Fun.
That could be fun. But so stay tuned, that'll be January. I'll try to do it at our regular scheduled meeting, so that it works out for everybody. Jack Brown, and just to kind of repeat myself from last time, Jack Brown was all in on this. He was wonderfully supportive. I think, Jack is trying really hard. He took over from Carrie Rettinger. And, Carrie was kind of at the end of his, he's ready to retire. And Jack, I think was really trying. And so he was really willing to be helpful. He provided the letter of support. He provided the letter of support, not only from Republic, but also from the MRF, which they basically run. So he said as soon as I had any specifics to let him in, so to inform him. So I'll probably reach out to him in the next week and just talk to him, bring him up to speed as much as I can, and then include him on that onboarding.
I think
so
that,
he's aware.
Hey, Garth, how are you doing?
Good, we volunteered you for everything.
Oh, shoot. That's what happens when you show up late.
We noticed you had about 20 minutes a day free. You got them.
I think that would be a very good idea to include Jack. Most recently, there's been a lot of communication in the Facebook
I saw that.
arena,
Yeah.
and it doesn't paint the company in the best of light.
Yeah, I couldn't tell where she was from, though. I saw that commentary on Facebook and I couldn't tell where she was from. What was it?
I
It was-
think
she was fussing
the
about a
I
bill
think
she
the
got from the
township,
public.
but there were so many
Good place to do that. right?
Well, I know.
comments
Yeah.
that, you know,
Well, I saw you weighed in on it too, Dan, but I hadn't had time to.
Well, I-
follow the
I
whole
had-
string.
I had to because our community director from the township weighed in on it and I was not happy.
Hmm,
And I had to let her know that I'm watching.
Yeah.
Because I've already had this conversation with her,
Yeah.
yeah, you tell them
but
what
she
to
can't
do.
help herself, so.
Yeah.
So I think it's just one of the challenges, I think, as a committee, we should be aware of that there's a point of view that will, I think, head into.
Yeah. Go ahead.
From that conversation, actually, Josh Wise from that new Wise Recycling reached out to me, and so did the manager of Aero Waste. And I let them know that, I sent them the report I did on single hauler, and I let them know it's on our radar.
Mhm.
So it sounds like Aero Waste apparently has 2 single hauler contracts in the county already. One's in Door Township.
Okay.
So they may be prepared to, if the township does proceed with this. I think it sounds like they're in a position to bid on a single hauler contract.
Okay.
So we would have some competition with Republic, which I think the people would like.
So how far are you all along in the township on anything?
They got the report.
Okay.
John Helmrich was like, what's the next step? And I'm like, you're supposed to tell me. So I'm gonna ask him again, because I'm seeing him on Friday, do you want me to initiate like a contact? Because I can contact, it sounds like Josh Wise also, it's on his radar that he might prefer to have a single hauler contract than contract with all these random people in a huge area. So I would like to bring him into it too. So at least, if we had 3 bidders, that would be fantastic. But I want to take that next step and arrange for a presentation from all possible haulers to the board. Just an initial presentation that might kind of hit on some of the items that we're looking for and whether or not they do in fact have the capacity to pull off a single hauler contract for us.
Mark, yeah.
But recently, my community put our contract out for bid for garbage recycling, and Arrow Waste did respond,
Oh, they did?
but they do not do recycling.
Yeah, I didn't think they did recycle.
They don't recycle.
You sure? He said they knew.
Nope,
No, I don't think they do.
it was not in their bid.
So.
And besides that,
It was not in their bid.
well, it wasn't in their bid because they don't recycle.
Oh.
They never.
And in fact, the Republic bid included recycle, and their overall cost was less than Arrow Waste's without recycle.
Well, I do know that they are, but Rosemary told me that they recycle Aero Waste.
And then they're lying.
So, okay, so I have it on my agenda to go to the township meeting tonight.
Okay.
So I'm going to mention that the ball is in their court.
Yes, but yeah.
Yeah, because we specifically asked them to bid for garbage removal
Yeah.
as well as recycle.
Okay.
And they only responded with garbage removal, no recycle available.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if they would change their minds if it was a single hauler contract for the whole community.
They may not have.
Don't
I mean,
know.
they may not have the capacity. I mean, they led me, from my conversation with Rosemary, she told me that Aero Waste is handling the recycling component for the county indoor township. But I don't know if she's wrong about that.
Now,
or-
they bought Jay's and Jay's
Yeah.
did recycle.
Yeah,
How he recycled and how he disposed of it, I have no idea,
yeah.
Okay.
but
Okay, well, I'll inquire further to see what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see what they need, if anything, to get going on that. So those are the first 2 items that are really focused around recycling and recycling grants. So stay tuned on the onboarding in early January, probably with Cassandra.
I'll double check with our treasurer again, but when he published the quotes,
Yeah.
it wasn't included and it said no recycle.
Oh, weird. Yeah, that's weird.
Souls for Souls, I know we still are collecting Land Shard.
Mhm.
Where else?
The love of shoes.
Love shoes. Okay, I had somebody asking the other day and I was like, Land Shard? Okay. Not the
That'll-
fire
that's-
department?
Nope, and that'll just be ongoing.
Ongoing, great.
Yeah.
Land sharks will be ongoing too.
Land Sharks and For the Love of Shoes are both in on it, which is
I
great.
thought we were done. I just took a bunch to Christian neighbors. so,
Oh,
I mean,
we were done, but then they liked it so much and they had so many of their customers that appreciated it. They said they just want to keep getting the boxes and Kelly was up for it. So,
Great.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bless her.
how
yeah.
often do they pick those up?
As soon as the box is full, she goes and gets them and ships them in. So that, I think to date, it's been about 1,100 pair.
Wow.
So,
Awesome. The Business Initiative Short-Term Rental Outreach, I know Kelly, you and Kelly were working on that. Did
Yep.
Stava ever have a meeting yet with the business owners?
her and I text every day pretty
Okay.
much. And it's that there's
No word.
no word and she's reached out and there's just crickets. So I don't know. At the moment, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it seems odd. And if it doesn't work, then we will talk to Lisa and see if she can get the survey
Yeah.
out. So there's another avenue, but it's,
Yeah, that might be a good way to go. It's just going ahead and transition up at least some eyes.
so we'll wait to see. I mean, I think I thought it was supposed to be yesterday or today. But from what I hear, the meeting hasn't happened. So I don't know. You'd think if you were trying to get all the businesses in, you would have a date prior to the day it was happening or something.
Right, that's
So,
okay.
we'll
That's
see.
fine.
Yep.
Ryan, just as an update for you, one of the things that we wanted to try to do was positively influence short-term rentals and businesses to start recycling, especially the short-term rentals in the summer. Some folks do recycle, some folks don't. It's very difficult. So we were trying to find a mechanism through Sadaba to at least connect with the business owners on that.
And we were also looking to figure out what is it that they want? Like, do they want recycling? Do they have trouble getting rid of their boxes? And then what are the hurdles to getting there so that we don't just walk in and making assumptions about what businesses need or want.
Okay,
And the idea was to do a 5-minute presentation just on what we were hoping to get, and then we were going to follow up with a survey.
okay.
So we may just have a survey, which is fine.
Great.
It's
Is,
fine.
So
is the
just-
Convention Bureau and Sadava connected in any way? Or are they separate entities?
Separate entities.
Separate entities.
Or you said, right?
So the city of Saugatuck has the licenses and information for the short-term rentals, a whole set. And then recently, we've been asking for business license applications to have their contact information. So we can share that as
Okay.
well. So, I mean, you can
Yeah.
use that
And
information.
would that be a more robust list than the visitors, like what Lisa has?
This is a
And then
it's a very mysterious thing. Who has the best list of all the businesses, including short-term rentals?
Okay.
But I know that we do have a complete set in the city of Saugatuck of the short-term rentals.
And do
We
you
do
know
in
if-
Douglas.
We
too.
do? Okay.
They have to register.
I mean, we reached out and I created a flyer and all of that went out through all the rental companies at the beginning to kind of just see if they had a recycle bin to begin with. And
Mhm.
secondly, if they, like, what are they recycling? And then there was something that I made that they could post in the rental to say like, this is what we're recycling here. And then the season started. So we were like, okay, well, good luck with the season and we'll catch back up with you.
Yeah.
But we've not
Okay.
circled back.
Are
so-
Airbnbs included in that short-term rental?
They are,
They have to get a license as well?
correct.
I guess we require inspections on the property and the fire chief does an inspection of smoke alarms and fire extinguishers. So we're
Talk to some board members.
pretty down with that.
So I think the city probably has the most complete list at this point in time.
Yeah.
So look to us for,
Yeah.
Do you want me to get the list from Douglas for you?
I guess, yeah, if you could get it
Yeah, probably.
you
PM.
could send it to me.
I
and
don't think
I'll-
Lisa's
and-
gonna have them. I mean, she doesn't do anything with Airbnbs or
No.
VPRs.
it is not.
I don't know what the
No, but
legality
then
of that is.
I guess I just wanted
Public
to,
Like
record.
whenever I sign up for something, you want your information to go and then I start getting emails, you know?
and then the other, I mean, one of them is that there's, so that's the short term, but then the other part is all the businesses. So like the retail spaces and are you using plastic bags? Are you not? Do you
Mhm.
care if you're using, like that whole piece is separate but the same to us because we're just trying to get a wide input of how we can assist across the board. Whether
And
it's,
from the very beginning, we've heard from the businesses that they wished there was more support for recycling. Like, and it's such an individual thing. Some businesses contract for it, some don't, and all you can recycle is cardboard. That's it. Nothing else. It's just a killer. So many have asked if there's not some way that we can help on a business end to do a better job of recycling. So that's where we're trying to get with that. Recognizing that it's a hard group to get together to corral for just about anything, and so how to best do that. And initially it was, with Gregory and Sadama suggesting, come to a meeting, and then the meeting's just been way late, so. Okay. we'll
Yep,
keep
so that's good
trying.
though.
The battery buckets, I have Daniel here, but I have some information too. Who, are yours both full in Douglas?
I'm going there right after this, so I'll
Okay.
check.
Township, where are you guys at with your battery bucket?
I've kind of like, because they've approved it long-term, it's just part of the program now.
Okay.
And so I sent Joe all of the information, so I anticipate that he's gonna take care of it from now on,
Okay.
that they have it indefinitely.
All right, yeah, Kathy, I think you guys are on your second bucket, but I haven't been in lately to see how full it is.
Okay, I'll check.
In the city, Peter, Mr. Initiative, he just decided to put a bucket out there, and when it gets full, he takes it up to Holland and takes it to batteries, something or
Plus?
the other. I'm like,
Batteries Plus?
Fine, I can't remember, do you remember Batteries
Batteries
Plus?
Plus, I think,
Yeah,
yeah.
he just does it, he's like, okay, I'm taking him up there, and.
But he's paying twice as much.
It's not, I don't even know, no, I'll have to ask him how much it costs, honestly.
I think they charge, last time I checked, they charge $2 or $3 a pound
Yeah.
versus I think it's only $1 a pound from,
Yeah, it was $110 to renew the bucket.
yeah.
And I'll ask him for more information, but he.
And Batteries Plus was only accepting rechargeable batteries.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
Here in the city, if he's willing to do it and he's willing to contribute, I'm like, lovely.
Yeah.
There's a bucket downstairs, and sometimes it gets really full, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
like where it is right now, where it's a third full. So in the case with the township, it is time. You've gone through your 2 buckets. It's time, if you guys want to renew that on your own, you can.
Mhm.
Same thing with Douglas. I think once you're full on those battery buckets.
And I'll just put my buy in. I think it should just keep going.
I do too.
Okay,
I do
great.
too.
Yeah, and that might be something.
I'm gonna stop
next
at my house
council
first
meeting.
and grab my batteries. Maybe I'll fill it up.
There you go.
myself.
Push the topic.
At your next Douglas council meeting, you can mention that.
Okay.
How's that? Yep. Paper gators.
Yep.
Waiting.
We're just waiting. We're waiting. And then as soon as it gets, once there's a waiting list, I think, I went out for a tour there. And it really is amazing. They do not have enough paper.
Mhm.
So they are buying paper from Padnos or elsewhere. So they're excited to start expanding, and now there's a shortage of the steel to make the bins, and then the bins are twice as much. So there's a waiting list. And so I think she was looking at 2 of the bins that I took pictures of, and I wasn't allowed to take pictures of anything. And I went with my kids, and we were all outside the window. She's like, "Now this is the part." And I'm like, "Okay." And we're looking in. So it literally goes in one end and comes out as pet products at the other end of the building. And it is super cool. They do not take cardboard. They are talking about taking cardboard, and so it's a wait game. And then the week before they come, I have an article that will go in the paper and let everybody know at each of the locations. The hope is that once a month. we'll
So
show
they're
it.
only taking paper like this?
Oh,
They'll
no.
take paper, they'll take paper board, shredded paper is a huge deal. They want it either in a bag or in a paper bag.
But they will take shredded paper?
Yeah, yes, which is
Wow.
awesome.
Cereal boxes.
Cereal boxes.
magazines,
And not
books.
cardboard.
They will take books
Not
that are
big
bound,
cardboard.
they like a whole, like, put a book in. It's not like tear the pages out and then get rid of the cover.
Mhm.
So
Oh.
it'll really be an asset, and I think it's gonna be great. And Republic doesn't pick up those things, so it's just it'll be a nice partnership.
Yeah, so it could be a month.
She was hoping by now,
So,
but
We need to do something to get out
yes.
with what exactly people can put
in
in
the
there.
paper, and it listed on the outside of it, and
It's
then,
got an article ready to go.
yeah, so, but definitely, and I think we might need more than one, or we'll do a,
Yeah, they have one at the Hamilton Elementary School.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, usually you see them at the schools. That's where you see them. When I was
Yeah.
up in Wayland with the COVID clinics in the spring,
Are we
there's
set
2
on
back there, so.
Hayward?
Yep, at 200, and I've talked to Rich about it, and we have a place that's enclosed in 3 sides, and then once the building is raised or it's in process, when they build the fence around it, they will build a 3-side enclosure for the paper gator, and then they'll just move it across, so
That could happen before you get your paper
Mm.
gator.
Yeah.
we don't have to move it.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
Which is good. We don't want you to all not raise that building. You need to raise that.
It's going down,
Alright.
and maybe before Christmas.
Reusable bags.
Yes, they're at Demond's, sorry, at Lake Vista. It'll be
Oh my
10 years. I'm
goodness.
sorry. I just stopped calling
Super
it.
Valu.
Yeah.
For like the
Um,
Yeah, thanks for everybody's help on those.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think we collected, what did I say, guys, 1,300 something in donations
Wow.
that day.
Yep.
From both, I know Mark and Dimitri are up at the BP station, and then Kathy and Ron and Daniel and myself and Linda. Who else was there?
A
Your
friend of mine
daughter,
came.
Linda's friend.
Linda's
Yeah.
friend.
She had it down.
Oh, man, she was
You
good.
did. I almost didn't relieve her. I'm like.
How many bags were actually sold?
I didn't go back in, there's a one full box still, right? There's
Yes, and-
There's at
200.
least 200, right?
I think there's probably like,
At least, and Brett was adamant, I talked to him, he goes, nope, Garn, bring him in, we're gonna collect donations here, so I was gone for a week and a half, so I'll go in and connect.
they're in
with
there.
him.
They're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're there.
They're there.
Very
I have to
good. You
excuse
gotta go.
myself because I have to go, but
Yep, you gotta go.
I think that's all my things on there anyways.
That is.
Thank you.
See you Friday, right, at the Women's Club?
I'm going to the Women's Club, do a
Yes.
presentation and update. So
I
you'll be
saw
there?
that.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm bringing 3 friends, including the one who did all the selling.
Good. It's in the
Oh,
paper.
Cindy Rao, it is.
Yeah, today.
Yes, it is.
You better show up. Okay. All right.
Very good.
You're the headliner.
Oh, good. Oh, boy.
Very good. Reasonable balance, I still see Patrick on here, but I can't, he is still taking up anchor. Are you there, Patrick?
Yep, no, I'm here,
Okay,
peacefully anchored.
all right, tell us about reusable water bottles.
Okay, at the last meeting, we went through all this stuff. Basically, there's nothing new. I think we're at a point where we should make some basic decisions. First, do we want to do this project? Second, and it's my view that we should split the actual water dispensers with the bottle subject and let that be what it is when we find out what's going on. I think that the question is, should we, and I believe it's reasonable to put some kind of a pilot program in, put 3 or 4 units in across the communities of Saugatuck and Douglas in places where we can keep track of what's going on and get started. And along that track, Charlotte and I have agreed to donate up to $3,500 to get this thing going. So the funding at least half of it would be funded. We could do a smaller program and all of it would be funded. But I think everything gets easier in terms of these suppliers. If it's a project, we're doing it, and they don't think we're just kind of wandering around talking about stuff. That's number one. Number two is, if we want to get this going by spring, we've got to get on these dispensers and the bottles also. Or we'll never get it done. We may not anyway with the supply situation the way it is. So really, I think it's a discussion among the people on the committee as to whether this is worthwhile to do, and we ought to do it. And then I think there's several things we need. I think a subcommittee needs to be set up. It would sure help if we had an engineer that we could access or be on the committee, because it's that kind of situation with the dispensers, and get at it. So that's basically where it is. Just to summarize, the pilot program could be as little as probably $3,000 with 3 dispensers and some bottles to get it started, or it could be as much as $6,000 or $7,000 if one of the dispensers needs to be outside because they're expensive. At that, questions?
Questions? Patrick, why don't I follow up with you and get all the specifics? Because I think we need to turn around and talk to the municipalities about what exactly is needed.
That's right.
As far as
It's
this-
essentially, and the municipalities may be able to purchase these things better than we can. So we just provide them with the funds to do it. You know, there's that whole list of things. If you'd like to, I can make up a whole list and you can make a list. We'll get together.
Okay, that would be really good, because I don't think we can really move forward. It's kind of like when we did household hazardous waste day. We really can't move forward unless one or two or all three are on board with at least giving it a try. So.
Yep.
maybe I'll follow up with you and we'll figure out a plan. How's that?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Have fun. Enjoy the warm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
No.
See ya. Cool. All right. Yeah. He had alluded to the fact that he and Charlotte's his wife, that they were gonna throw in a chunk of change to, because he so strongly believes in this, going to reusable water bottles, having the water filling stations, that kind of. And he's pretty passionate that we can kind of make this happen, especially here in this community where we have some, in Douglas, where you have so many people up and down the main street.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we see it at Isabel's all the time. People come in looking for water bottles.
Yeah.
And we have it out now. We just put it out with little glasses so they can just fill up. But if we had the ability to have stations, that would be pretty nifty.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty nifty. Move away from plastic water bottles. Would be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Kathy, I thought that along the lake shore, the restrooms there's a lot of, in the summer, there's a
Yeah.
lot of traffic. It'd be great to have one,
That would be good.
Yeah.
an outside one.
all right,
Yeah,
I'll follow up with him and kind of drill it down what we need, what our next steps are, and then follow up.
On the beach unit, that unit isn't horribly expensive because they've got it mounted on the wall.
They have what?
Well, the unit that's at the beach is now mounted on their drinking fountain is mounted on the wall of one of those restroom buildings, and that's less expensive than a freestanding unit. So we could do that and put a unit in there that would replace the unit they have, and then they could handle selling the bottles, which means we have details on what happens.
Okay, all right. Very good. Thank you, Patrick. Much appreciated. Appreciate you. I have on here the Tri-Community Sustainability Authority. Barry, I've made no progress on this whatsoever.
You know, I guess since Ryan's here, we don't want to spook anybody on this, setting up another authority, increasing government and all, but it kind of was born out of the county's not doing anything for us, as far as this initiative and stuff. Now I hear today that Rosemary's taking direction from us, because of the collaboration she wants to do with Daniel to get educational things and do them countywide. And the other thing is that this is a volunteer organization and there's so much work being done by this group. Whereas it's like if you ask the Department of Defense to fund it with a bake sale. Well, that's what we're doing. We're funding this. I think the leading initiative in the county with selling bags and water bottles, and a lot of work with these people, the articles that they write, all the things that Daniel's done. It's just like, way in the back for it. But maybe if we had something that had a structure and a funded, person to take some of this off the moms that got to go to pick up their kids at school and all that stuff. So, the intention is not to spook, and we put it way in the back burner. But we just learned something more every meeting.
Sure.
And, I don't know if that's where we want to go, but we have those entities in the community. We've got a sewer and water authority, we've got a, fire district, in urban. And so we kind of know how those work, and they're successful because they have funded staff. So I'm not aggressively pursuing it, but every time I go to these meetings, I hear how much more we're doing than everybody else, you know?
Yeah,
So,
and Ryan, I've done my research and found like kind of the framework of
Yeah.
how to set up an authority, but it's sitting there.
Yeah.
It's sitting there. Felt really big to me.
yeah.
Can we model after anybody else? Is anybody else, any other municipalities?
Well,
Have already
Allen's got
formed
obviously a sustainability guy. They're paying a
Yeah,
full-time
Holland.
staff position.
Yeah, we might ask Dan.
Yeah,
When we
And they
see
would rather
him.
talk to that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and he's enthusiastic, then maybe bringing us in.
no, he's very
Bigger picture.
enthusiastic. Yeah.
So, you know, maybe these things will all work out, but we're just moving around. Again, it's way in the back burner. It's always the last thing on the agenda. You know, it's spooky. And does people, want people pay more taxes? And I'm, you know, because we could do that with the millage. Maybe it's a quarter mil, maybe it's really nothing, you know, not much at all, but it's another thing on the tax bill.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
it's
think
not
too, in
even
order-
a priority, but we're just keeping it in the back of our minds.
In order for this to succeed, because it just keeps expanding from where we started 2 years ago, there has to be an ongoing, like if this group was to disband for whatever reason, there has to be something there to pick it up, you know?
Yeah, no, let's keep talking about it.
Well, and you know, and then we push things off on you guys, on the city managers, and you get it done, but maybe there's a entity that could just grab it, you know?
Great, good.
So
good
that's
thinking.
just an ongoing discussion. But again, Garnett gave me some good information on setting these up, and I knew a little bit about it, but you know, I just don't know.
Sure, no, I think it's a great idea, so let's keep talking about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we need to put it up farther close to the beginning then.
How about for the next meeting, I'll move it up first. And you all can
Yeah.
go do your homework on how to set up an authority. And that way we can, like the classroom, we can just share what we've learned.
Yeah.
How's that? That'd be great. We might as well noodle about it. Might as well. Because come January, we'll be up to our eyebrows probably in the recycling partnership, the pre and post audit stuff. So, Ryan, you missed it. Ryan and I sat in today on a 2-hour onboarding for that little baby grant that we got.
Okay, great.
And it was with 13 other entities that received it. And each one of us, she'll be doing individual onboarding meetings with us in January.
Excellent,
So, yeah, it sounds really cool. It sounds really cool.
good to hear.
All right. Any other comments?
I got one question. I wrote a note down if you don't mind. So going to the recycling conference that you guys did and everything, were you reimbursed for your travel expenses?
No,
Can we take some of our grant money or some of our money that we have to reimburse people when they do these things? Because now you're talking about going to Lansing
Lansing.
or whatever. and
Yeah.
then, you know, again, this is like running on a bake sale, but.
yeah.
But we have some funding,
Mhm.
or do we go to each municipalities and say, this is what we think it's gonna cost to go? Because you're gonna have hotel rooms if you go to Lansing.
No, you do.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah.
So we don't want to have to have you people individually take the hit on the expenses,
Yeah. No, I like the idea because,
you know,
yeah.
so.
Because I had to take the hit.
There you
So
go.
let me tackle this in 2 pieces. So we have that $1,300 kind of sitting there from the reusable bags. If this group is in support, we can utilize some of that to reimburse. I just need receipts is what I need. So
Yeah.
We have to have a paper trail for this so that we're not just.
Those funds are resident in Saugatuck though, right?
What's that?
$1,300.
The funds that you all collected, $1,300, I think
This was
that's you
us.
all.
What's
Yeah,
that?
that's us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
So we've got it. I mean, so if this little board approves, yeah, we're gonna pay expenses. Well, it's kind of the township's money and Douglas's money too, right? So can we just do that? I mean, I vote right now to.
Well, we've
reimburse people.
authorized Peter to be the treasurer, right? So
Well, pretty much, yeah. But I've still got that cash. I'm sitting on it. He wanted me to sit on it until I got more from Brett. So I have it.
Yeah, it's just with all the work everybody's doing, why do you take the hit on the expenses to do this?
agreed.
So I want to put that forward, okay?
So that's.
Make sure we're on
that-
firm ground.
That's the one part of it. The other, now moving forward to the conference, the Michigan Recycling Coalition Conference in May, that is covered by the recycling partnership.
Good.
Because we got this grant.
Right.
That is separate from the $9,000 that we got for what we're doing.
Right, okay.
So.
I just wanted to get that on tape.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm
I
all
like
for it.
that.
If you
I
want
like
to make a
that too.
motion, we can do that and then we'll take care of it.
Let's do that next meeting.
All right, we'll do that at the next
So
meeting.
it'll
I
be an
need to see
agenda
it.
item.
I have it. I'm looking at it right now.
Very good. Demetria, if you can grab it too, that'd be great.
So let's get it on the agenda
Got
for
it.
the next meeting, and so it's public that we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
And then Daniel and I or somebody will come up with something to
Yeah,
make sure people get reimbursed for the hard work they're doing. you know.
I love that idea, Barry. Thank you. I wasn't expecting that, but I love that.
Yeah, very good. All right.
Thank
Anything
you.
else for the good of the order? All
Oh,
right.
the cold water visit, that could be in lieu of the December meeting, right?
I want to give
Yeah.
Demetria time to see what we need to
Right,
do.
well, there'd be expenses involved with that too, so that's why it's gonna be appropriate
Yeah,
to
Once you,
Okay,
talk about
once you follow
reimbursement.
up with her and let us know
okay.
what's happening. And then we'll go from there. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Right, thank you.
Anything else? All right,
It-
with that. Thanks so much.
Do
I
we
have your
need like
stuff.
a motion or anything? Or
Move
do
to
I just
adjourn.
make something?
Anybody?
Seconded.
Go for it. There you go.
Yes.
All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.